From our Center for the Arts studio, this is Good Afternoon Ashland, your news and sports update show. I'm Sean Rapuyan.
And I'm Evan Laux. Thanks for tuning in.
The City of Ashland is preparing for its second annual Make Ashland Sparkle cleanup. This community-wide event will allow volunteers to help clean up and beautify the many areas of Ashland. From painting the fire hydrants around town to staining the observation tower and pavilions at Byers Woods and Audubon Park, anyone is able to participate in this event. Last year, over 150 volunteers went out to clean up the community. If you're interested in participating, head to ashlandrotary.net/page/sparkle for more information.
The Coburn Art Gallery is holding another exhibition this semester. The Senior Art and Design exhibition that opened on April 8th features the final projects for the graduating art majors coming from the Department of Art and Design. The 7 students, Noah Rao, Harley Gregory, Taylor Mowry, Hannah Osborne, Tristan Peterman, Calandra Roddy, and Aaliyah Ratliff have created various pieces that sum up their time and work here at Ashland. The gallery for viewing is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and noon to 4 p.m. on weekends. Mask wearing and social distancing will be enforced. The COVID pandemic has caused many student organizations to halt on their activities and events since last spring. The students within fraternity and sorority life are one of many groups that had to postpone activities. From philanthropy events to simple get-togethers, FSL worked around the virus and made sure that their events did not cease. AUTV 20's Cass Tolliver talked to some of the members of FSL to see how they have adapted.
COVID-19 has changed many things on campus, especially fraternity and sorority life. Their philanthropic events that are normally held in person were either canceled or held in different ways. These challenges forced FSL to be more creative in raising money and in celebrating Greek life.
COVID has made FSL a lot more flexible and a lot more creative. We've had to get really creative with recruitment, really reaching out to different aspects of things that we wouldn't usually do, and just trying to build that Greek unity along with Greek Week and lip sync and activities like that. Delta Zeta has taken on a few new philanthropic partners, including some serious fun camps, including one in Ohio, so we're trying to work on getting ourselves out to there. It's in Mount Gilead, I think. And then we also are doing some events. We did Hike for Hearing in the fall, and that was outside, so we were able to do that. And then we are going to have Scrunchies for Starkey coming, and we have a philanthropy event partnering with Fidel at the end of the semester as well.
It was really strange at first. Starting off the school year, it's completely different than normal. Limited operations like chapter meeting, socials, everything like that, and also recruitment. We had to kind of switch up the traditional style of recruitment. We changed it to go into the quad or redwood, things like that, to kind of make the capacity bigger, besides our normal house recruitment events where everyone's inside and doing things. In a normal year, we'd have big events and things like that to get people to come out and check out each chapter. That was limited. In addition to lip sync, one of our biggest philanthropy as FSL as a whole was St. Jude from doing lip sync. Our chapter was really prepared to do that and raise money for St. Jude, but unfortunately, due to DeWine's order, because of COVID, we had to cancel that. Luckily, our philanthropy Camp New Hop, they're able to host events, so we'd go there socially distanced with masks, doing events such as Fuzzy Fandango, and there's another run that's going to be happening in April.
For AUTV 20, I'm Cass Tolliver.
If you or anyone is interested in fraternity or sorority life, contact Dustin Hargis, Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life at dhargis@ashland.edu, or call the Department of Student Life at 419-289-5325.
Coming up, we'll get a chance to hear about the upcoming Vinyl-thon happening on 88.9 WRDL.
And a bit later, Lydia Bice will talk about Ashland sports, along with the new coach for the esports team.
Stay tuned. This is Good Afternoon Ashland.
From our Center for the Arts studio, this is AUTV 20. It's more than a college TV station. It's award-winning student-made content.
It's the best in news and sports.
It's talking to campus.
It's reaching out into the community.
It's real-world experience.
It's AUTV 20.
.9 WRDL is Ashland University's own award-winning student-run radio station covering music, news, sports, and more. From early bird's word to individual DJ shifts, WRDL gives students the opportunity to not only hone their skills to become tomorrow's radio professionals today, but also serve their campus and community and play today's hits at the same time. More music, more you. 88.9 WRDL.
Welcome back to Good Afternoon, Ashland. The Ohio Department of Transportation has announced the start of more than 270 road projects across Northeast Ohio. 17 counties will be part of this $24 million project starting later this month. This project will span across 3 years and is scheduled to be completed in June of 2024. The main goal is to improve the safety and quality of roads, safe routes to school, intersection safety, and more. In Ashland County, some of the projects include intersection improvements at US 30 and Ohio 89 and US 30 at Ohio 603.
Grace Episcopal Church of Mansfield has opened up a drop-in center for LGBTQ plus youths. Named Love on a Mission, this local nonprofit wants to provide a safe haven for youths ages 12 to 18 that need a space to, quote, express themselves and be loved for who they are, a place where you can create authentic friendships and thrive as the person you were born to be. The founder of Love on a Mission, Dana Fowler, contacted Rector Joe Ashby to provide a space in his church. Ashby agreed since he wanted a space to allow a more inclusive environment. Starting on April 12th, drop-ins will begin at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday. More information can be found at loveonamission.org. Vinylthon college radio stations around the country are making final preparations ahead of Vinylthon, a 24-hour event where stations play music exclusively from vinyl records. This April 17th, here at Ashland University, 88.9 WRDL FM is participating again this year. AUTV 20's Nick Stupka has the story.
88.9 WRDL dropped the needle back on the record again this year for Vinylthon 2021. After taking last year off due to the COVID-19 pandemic, WRDL was excited to partake in the 24-hour event once again. Hosted by the College Radio Foundation, Vinylthon was a much-anticipated event for AU faculty and students alike who were eager to showcase their favorite tunes.
Vinyl records have been a passion of mine since I was a child. I mean, in my apartment, I have a bookshelf that is filled with over 600 vinyl records. So when I heard about Vinylthon, I was like, this is made for me. I mean, I just immediately had to get involved because of my interest in vinyl records. Plus, it's 24 hours of playing record music.
We are coming together for one full day as a whole to bring a different type of music to the community and really show that while we all may have different preferences, vinyl kind of brings us together.
I'll be on the air at some point during the day with another former adjunct faculty member, Scott Saunders. He's been my mentor in radio, so it's always good to get back on the air with Scott and bring him to WRDL, and we can celebrate the uniqueness of college radio, and then also celebrate the freedom that vinyl records gives a station like WRDL, because it's a day in which we don't play music that's from our automation system, or we don't have students in the studio that are playing things from the top 40 charts. It's a day in which we celebrate both current WRDL programming, a little break in format, but also to celebrate the artists and songs that paved generations.
From AUTV 20, I'm Nick Stupka.
Vinylthon on WRDL will feature students, staff, faculty, alumni, and listener requests. The event runs 24 hours, and more information located at vinylthon.com.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Lydia Bice will fill us in on the news happening in Ashland sports.
But before that, field reporter Elena Ross got to chat with JDM alumna and WWMT news anchor Kate Seifert on her time in the Journalism and Digital Media Department, along with her post-grad adventures in Alumni Access.
You're watching Good Afternoon, Ashland.
From our Center for the Arts studio, this is AUTV 20. It's more than a college TV station. It's award-winning student-made content.
It's the best in news and sports.
It's talking to campus.
It's reaching out into the community.
It's real-world experience.
It's AUTV 20.
So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, happy to do it. Right now I'm working at a station in Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Michigan, so Southwest Michigan area. And I'm a weekday anchor. I anchor Monday through Friday. I produce and anchor our show at noon, and then I anchor our show at 5:30. So that's my gig right now. Before I came here, I was a sports reporter full-time at a station in Steubenville, Ohio. And while I was in Steubenville, I started as an MMJ, and then I always wanted to do sports. So they let me do some sports things. And then that evolved into anchoring sports. And then I started anchoring news, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this. And that's how I ended up coming here and doing news here.
How did the program at AU set you up for your career?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I take lessons from AU into my real job now every day. And it really wasn't, this is going to sound probably silly, but it wasn't the classes that I take lessons from. It was doing the actual real life activities and things outside of the classroom. That being doing the radio show or being the editor of the paper, anything that I did with John Scrata in the sports side of things. I was the sideline reporter for the basketball games. That was like that was stuff I didn't even get to do at my first job sometimes. It was like real life, real media stuff. And those real life experiences helped way more than sitting in a media law class. So I would say those are things that I still think about and take lessons from every day, and learning from people like Dave and Maggie and John and a couple other teachers who aren't there now. They were in the business. They know exactly what it's like, and they were able to give you, no BS lessons, right? Things that they actually encountered during their day to day that they could help you be like, hey, when you get to your job, this is what it's really going to be like. There's no one actually doing your makeup every day. There's no one actually writing the stories that you read every day. You're not just going to be a talking head. It was like, this is really what it's like. And those were the lessons that I will carry forever. The other thing too is I've had a lot of coworkers who went to huge schools. And when I tell them the experience I had compared to what they got to do, I got to do many more things than they got to do. And it was because I had a small program. It was a big fish in a little pond. And it was, taking advantage of opportunities that were given to us because there weren't a lot of other people to do them, and it would have, if I didn't want to, it would have been fine too. John and Dave wouldn't have been upset, but it was like taking advantage of that because, people who go to Ohio State or WMU, WVU, they're not going to have the same opportunities because those are huge schools.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. Okay. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to Good Afternoon Ashland Sports Update. I'm Lydia Bice. Thanks for tuning in. 4 Ashland University football players were named members of the 2021 National Football Foundation Hampshire Honor Society on Wednesday morning. Tight end Sterling Armstrong, linebacker Ryan Corcoran, kicker Satchel Denton, and linebacker Tyler Tokos all earned the honor on Wednesday. Corcoran and Denton were starters in their Eagle careers, while Tokos and Armstrong were key reserves. Denton earned 2 second-team All-Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference honors, while Corcoran was both All-GLIAC second-team and honorable mention. Armstrong, Corcoran, Denton, and Tokos give the AU football program 41 all-time NFF Hampshire Honor Society honorees, with 30 of those coming since 2018. The Ashland University baseball team will be taking on Northwood this weekend at home on Donges Field. The Eagles are 9-10 this season overall and 4-4 in the GLIAC. Ashland junior Alex Whipple and senior Austin Eifred are looking to continue their hot hitting as Whipple bats .393
and Ifrid bats .367 so far this season. Northwood, who is 15-4 overall, will be looking for their 4th straight win this afternoon against Ashland. First pitch is at 3 p.m. on Friday, April 16th at Donges Field in Ashland. As sports teams make their way back to competition after being away for so long, the spirit of the student athletes and coaches rise high since this is the last year Ashland will be part of the GLIAC. For women's volleyball, this is their final year to make an impact on the conference. AUTV 20's Nate Pawali had a chance to talk to head coach Kevin Foreman on the future of the team.
After a near 16-month layoff, the Ashland University volleyball team is back in action to kick off the spring 2021 season. This go-round, which is the Eagles' last in the GLIAC, almost didn't happen due to COVID-19. However, the GLIAC did decide to allow for volleyball to begin in the middle of February without any mascots, cheerleaders, or fans. The Eagles' season started back in February with a home date against Purdue Northwest, and now they're working towards the end of the season as they get ready to head towards a potential GLIAC tournament bid. Under third-year head coach Kevin Foreman, the Eagles maintained most of their 2019 roster coming into the new year, with a couple new students and one student transferring to another school.
A lot of it's buy-in from the girls when we first got here. We had a good senior leadership group when we first got here, so they bought in right away to our system. Just working hard, our defensive system, our offensive system, being in tempo. Really just working hard is what we preach, and a lot of coaches preach that, but doing it the right way, high character.
With more than half of the regular season schedule behind them, the Eagles are looking ahead to another potential playoff appearance, and they hope to make a deep run in GLIAC and possible regional play. For AUTV 20, I'm Nate Pawali from Cates Gymnasium.
Women's volleyball ended their season with the overall record of 9-8 and a conference record of 8-6. Next season, we will see the team, along with all of AU sports, enter into the GMAC conference. The Ashland University lacrosse team scored 3 straight goals midway through the first half to make it a 6-4 game, but visiting Findlay scored the next 6 goals to take a 12-4 lead into halftime. The Oilers went on to a 19-8 win on Thursday, April 15th at Ferguson Field. The Eagles are 1-9 this season and scored their first goal 5 minutes into the game as sophomore Cora Wilson found the back of the cage to cut the margin to 2-1. The Eagles are back in action on Sunday, April 18th, when they travel to Ursuline with a 4 p.m. start. In national news, Michael Jordan will present Kobe Bryant into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame at the induction ceremony on May 15th, the Hall announced in a news release on Thursday. The ceremony for the class of 2020 was postponed last year because of COVID-19, but it is one of the most star-filled classes in Hall history. Some inductees include Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Eddie Sutton, along with several others. Presenters who must already be in the Hall of Fame are often on stage alongside the inductee, but they normally don't give speeches. In the case of a deceased inductee, a person accepts the award on their behalf and gives a speech. It is not clear yet who will accept the award on Bryant's behalf. Ashland Esports team has hired a new head coach following the departure of Josh Buchanan. Taking on this position is alumni and former member Alec Mueller. AUTV 20's Lewis Markham sat down with Mueller to talk about his transition from athlete to coach and what he has in store for the team.
With the departure of previous head coach Josh Buchanan, a vital role in the Ashland Esports team has been missing for almost the entire spring semester. With roughly a month left in classes, former player Alec Mueller has been hired to fill the head coaching position.
Working under him and then being able to, continue moving the program forward, that not only brought me into esports, but, being in esports is something I always wanted to do. So I think it was a great starting point for me, especially starting and establishing a career in esports.
As classes and competitions wind down, Mueller has been adjusting to his new seat in the office.
So it was a little hectic at first, but it's really nice to be able to meet and see all the other players that I worked with here as teammates, and now stepping forward as their coach. It's been a really unique opportunity to come back.
Switching from student athlete to coach, Alec Mueller has taken on a new set of responsibilities here at Ashland.
So it's something that has already been familiar for me, and also being an RA on campus and just having leadership positions before is something I've been familiar with.
Mueller was one of the original players recruited to the Ashland esports team when the program first started. He was a top player on the Fortnite team for 3 years before he graduated and is now coaching players he was once teammates with.
Making sure we all end on a good note and improving the overall team GPA is something that I really want to see happen.
With his many years of experience with gaming, Mueller is looking forward to the seasons to come and hopes to lead the team to success. For AUTV 20, I'm Lewis Markham.
As the team progresses into their season, some members of the Fortnite team will be in the playoffs, called Play Versus. The playoffs for Ashland's esports Fortnite team will start on April 20th, and the players will have the chance to win a cash prize of $100,000. This has been your Good Afternoon Ashland Sports Update. I'm Lydia Bice. Thanks for watching.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Good Afternoon Ashland. To keep up on AUTV 20, make sure to follow us across all social media at AUTV 20.
And tune into the Early Birds Word 7 to 9 weekday mornings on 88.9 WRDL FM.
Also pick up a copy of the award-winning newspaper, The Collegian, and check out au-live.com for more news and content from the JDM department.
We would like to thank the crew here today at AUTV 20 for making this all possible. I'm Evan Laux.
And I'm Sean Rapuyan. Thanks for watching.